Hello and welcome to the Gaggle, where we challenge and, if necessary, destroy media narratives. I'm George Samuely. With me today, of course, is co-founder of the Gaggle, Peter Lavelle. So, Peter, this campaign against Elon Musk is heating up in Europe, and it's really quite extraordinary because it's almost as though, for the first time ever, European leaders are confronting the phenomenon of a billionaire interfering in European politics. Apparently, it's never happened before. All the years of George Soros, all the years of Bill Gates, all of what they had done. They've funneled money into NGOs, into all kinds of political projects, and funding universities, funding newspapers, all kinds of media outlets, funding opposition in innumerable countries. I mean, doing that in Hungary, doing that in Slovakia. And suddenly, confronting Elon Musk, they're shocked. A billionaire. I mean, this is a threat to democracy. And of course, the problem with Musk is, well, he doesn't have the right politics. What he's doing is, of course, what billionaires have been doing for many, many years. But they had, essentially the right political coloration, and no one really noticed it. But suddenly, with Elon Musk, they've noticed it, and they're outraged by it, and they say we have to do something about this. And
He's preaching a different catechism. Okay,
yes,
George is absolutely right. I mean, you can um, be very, very angry about the overstretch of the Soros, but they have their heart in the right place. Okay,
have their hearts in the right place.
the thing is that he's outside of the church with
That's
his
right.
own catechism, and this is something they can't comprehend, and they really can't comprehend. Like, where's Trump in all of this? Okay,
That's
having because this is overtly a businessman here, and he
right.
speaks in that idiom here,
Right.
and he obviously for Musk again. George and I have many problems with Elon Musk, but he goes talks to opposition leaders, political parties in Europe. I mean, okay,
But
I mean,
but that's
on the face of it, what's wrong with that? Okay,
exactly, and not what he does is not just opposition. It's people, political figures who are beyond the pale. They win votes, but they are beyond the pale. You're not supposed to even talk to them. You're not supposed to acknowledge them. You don't recognize their existence. That's the rule. And he goes and talks to people, and indeed he endorses them. He endorsed something like Nigel Farage, and then he endorsed the Alternative for
until he did,
Deutschland.
until he
Until it
didn't.
didn't exactly, but that itself is very interesting because he's so overt in everything he does, unlike the sort of the Gates and Soros, who fund all these different webs and networks of individuals and organizations and agencies that you don't really see their influence. You have to find out, well, who funds this organization, this institute, or this think tank, who's bankrolling it. But with him, he just comes out and says, with Nigel Farage, he said, "Yeah, yeah, this is my man. I'm going to cough up some money." And then he and Farage have a falling out over Tommy Robinson, and then he just sort of tweets out, he just doesn't have it. Farage doesn't have it. He needs to be replaced. And it just shows, Musk's naivete, because of course, you can't replace, Farage. I mean, the party is his. It's his. He created the party. He actually owns the party. Like it's a business, so he actually owns it. So there's no mechanism to replace him. And so Farage kind of politely sort of said, well, I'm a little surprised by his response, but I like him. So and in fact, Musk has backed away from that.
What's really interesting about this, yes, it's a lot of theater, okay, but this is really an interesting stress test for the liberal elites in Europe. They don't take it very well, do
No,
they,
they
George?
don't.
They
They
don't
don't.
have their stress is very, very fragile,
Very
okay?
fragile.
I mean,
and
because we don't talk to these people. No, we don't talk to the alternative for Germany. We don't talk. The Brothers of Italy. I think her party
that's right.
is called.
That's right.
But Elon Musk will say, "I'll talk to everybody. What's wrong? You have such thin skin. You
Right.
can't have a normal, open
Right.
debate." And I think
That
that's what really catches them off guard. Okay, because
and yeah.
they're perfectly willing to have someone from the devs, say, down with liberalism, and then liberals will just say, yes, that shows that we're so important because you
Right.
don't like us. But when you
Right.
have this outlier, Elon
Right.
Musk, I think
Right.
they just don't know what to do.
Right. No, that's right. And then you have to keep in mind the campaign against Musk only really began when he purchased Twitter. Up until then, he was in good odor with liberals because he was this electric cars, and that's supposed to be great. You're an environmentalist. Oh, fantastic electric cars. He did not have a bad reputation. He was, kind of was approved of. But once he took over Twitter, and after, and it took him a little bit of time before he said, "I'm going to let people back on." All the innumerable people who had been removed. Yeah, that's right. But above all, Donald Trump, and then Alex Jones, and then said, "Okay, I'm going to have them back on." Then that's when everyone just suddenly turned on him. Said, "Hey, you're a threat to freedom." He's a threat. So this is the peculiarity of the sort of the logic of liberalism, whereby if you allow free speech, and he claimed that he's a free speech absolutist, he's not, but at least he's much more so than the previous regime on Twitter. But once you allow this, that apparently is a threat to freedom, and that's the sort of this bizarre logic that somehow he's threatening freedom. Now there's the new claim is that he is manipulating Twitter to advance the cause of his favored politician. There's no evidence for this. I mean, again, you can see, he says the AfD is the only hope for Germany. Okay, you can believe it. You don't have to believe it. Just say, well, I don't agree with that, and
Well, okay,
but
all
it's
right,
upfront about it.
yeah, okay. So the FD is the only hope for Germany. Okay, Sergeant Schultz, would you like to reply to that?
Right.
Go ahead.
That's right. That's right.
You're on Twitter. Go ahead.
That's right. Now, that
Okay,
was interesting. That's
respond with an argument. They no, 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 no. If interacting with these people is verboten,
it's
okay, we got
foreboding.
to talk
And
to
this
these people. No, that's what Elon Musk. If you like or dislike or agree or disagree with them, I mean, he's thrown down the gauntlet. Your turn.
exactly. That's it. That's all he's done. He hasn't kicked off Schultz from Twitter. He hasn't kicked off any social democrat, any Green, Annalena Baerbock. She's got her account. She can say what she likes on Twitter. She can criticize Musk on Twitter, but he's just said, "Okay, I'm going to interview Alice Weidel," but also given that the media in Germany, with all the Der Spiegels and Die Zeit and Die Welt and all of them together, they don't interview her. It's like she's excluded from the club. You're a social democrat, a Christian democrat, the Green, a Free Democrat. You get interviewed, but from the mainstream German media, she doesn't get interviewed. And he said, "Okay, fine, I'll interview her, see what she has to
Okay,
say."
and what is the result? Okay, all of the publications that George mentioned, plus many, many more in Germany, don't even approach the exposure people will have on Twitter. Okay,
Okay.
and that's what really
That's
irritates them.
exactly. And so we had, as we discussed today, Thierry Breton, who used to be this EU commissioner, up until a few months ago, and he had already been threatening Musk for some time that, hey, well, if you want to have a presence in Europe, you better get with the program. You got to get with the EU rules. You got to get with the Digital Services Act, or else we're going to kick you out. You're not going to have, Twitter would be banned throughout Europe. So he had already been threatening in the name of freedom.
Every time you mention that guy's name, Thierry Breton, I don't know what his face looks like, which is not
Kind
important.
of the way you would expect a French.
Yeah, but what is the image that is conjured up in my mind is this kind of like cardinal dressed in the garb. Every time I hear his name is oh,
right.
Europe's cardinal is
That's
speaking now.
that's
He
right.
is one of the cardinal, part of the cura of liberalism in
That's right.
Europe. Okay,
That's right. That's
he's
right.
he's running the Holy Office. Apparently, he acts like it.
That's right. But anyway, he did an interview the other day, and you know, we was talking about this conversation between Vidal and Musk, and then he said, well, you know, we have a number of options we can apply in Germany. We can do in Germany if the AfD does well in the election, we can do the Romania option, and of course this was picked up. So let me just show you what what transpired as a result here. So here we have this here, ex-commissioner Breton. What was done in Romania may be needed in Germany. So, and then he says, former Frank Thierry Breton pointed to the Romanian precedent to evoke a possible annulment of the results of the German elections if they are not conducted correctly. An intervention that came in the context of a debate about Elon Musk's interference in Berlin politics. Again,
Before you go to the next slide,
mm-hmm,
just like our viewers, just point this out to our viewers that George and I predicted this.
right, that's right, exactly. A number of times, a number of times,
Many, many times. And now
exactly.
the cardinal has said it himself.
He said it himself, and this is what kind of interesting because what happened in Romania was so shocking. I mean, to cancel an election, and they still haven't really come up with any kind of a justification. I mean, they claim, oh, there was the Russian bots. Then it turns out they weren't Russian bots. And then again, even if there were Russian bots, he won. He came in first. He was ahead in the polls. What's the justification for canceling an election? They haven't really come up with anything. So you know, but Breton is obviously quite happy with this. And here we have, he says, Breton called for calm in the face of Elon Musk's interference in the internal affairs of Europe, stating that the law is strong enough to act as a deterrent. Now, again, the idea that this interference, you know, anyone who says anything, you know, apropos of an election is interfering. I mean, what does it even mean to interfere? Yeah, I mean, you're a public figure and you interview someone, you pronounce on something on a matter of public interest. Yeah, you're interfering.
Well,
What
George,
does that even mean? But
you and
well,
I,
it's interference.
we're by that definition, we're interfering.
We're exactly. So if, on the other hand, the Tesla and ex-boss thinks boss breaks the law, especially in Germany, by supporting the extremist AfD party, the former European Commissioner believes that it will be necessary for the authorities to act as in Romania, where the presidential elections were cancelled. And then this is again this website. Now, what really started this, and you know, the Euro News immediately picked up on this, and it was a Hungarian MEP who made some very good points here. He tweeted this out. The EU mainstream refuses to respect democratic norms and the will of the majority. When $10 million was illegally channeled to the Hungarian left for their 2022 election campaign, elites in Brussels stayed silent. When the US Embassy in Budapest started distributing funding to left-wing media, elites in Brussels stayed silent. When the Hungarian parliament adopted a sovereignty protection law to prevent such further interference, the European Commission sued Hungary. And then commissioners did, however, warmly receive George Soros on many occasions in the European Commission for official meetings. NGOs who lobby the EU receive his funding. Now there is another billionaire, Elon Musk, who dares to merely voice his opinion on European politics in favor of one political side or another. So-called liberal elites want to cancel democracy if they won't like the outcome of elections. And they speak candidly about the fact that this is exactly what they've recently done in Romania. We need change in Brussels. We need to defend our democracies and our sovereignty. Now, the reason why Euronews has brought this up is that Musk retweeted this and says, yeah, exactly. And now, of course, what happens when you get caught? Say, no, no, I didn't say that. No, no, I never said that. I never said that we're going to do in Germany what we did in Romania. No, 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 that's a
I don't know.
distortion.
Musk is manipulating you.
That's exactly. Um, and um, and then so and then here's Musk tweeting this interview with Breton. That's Thierry Breton. You can't really see it very well. He's the guy on the right. Um, and and then this is but back to Euronews. It says Breton quickly fired back, denying he was a tyrant and pointing out that, quote, the EU has no mechanism to nullify any election anywhere in the EU. No,
I don't know that I don't. How do you go from that data point to this data point?
but what this is what they do, of course. They say, oh well, there's no mechanism. Well, no, of course there's no mechanism whereby the Brussels can nullify an election. The question is, can you apply pressure on another government and make sure that you get with the program? Does the EU have that policy? Do they
Well,
have that capability? Yeah, of course they do. Of course,
yeah,
there's no mechanism. Of course, they
yeah,
don't have a mechanism to cancel an election.
but there is a mechanism. Let's go back to the quote. The EU has no mechanism to nullify any election anywhere in the EU. No, you don't. You just don't recognize it.
You
That's
just
not.
exactly. That's right. And that's what they were threatening Romania with. Now there's an election today in Croatia, the second round of the presidential election, and the guy that they don't want to win is going to win. And what happens? Politico is already running stories about Russian bots, Russian interference. You're active, Russian interference. Putin's man wins through Russian interference. Already, it's there. So, yeah, they haven't been able to cancel it, but they're going to take some measures. They always take measures against Croatia for voting the wrong way. You're not allowed to vote the wrong way. Um, and it says, not at all what is said in the video below related only to the application of the DSA, that's the Digital Services Act, and its moderation obligation, lost in translation or in other fake news. He said it. He brought up Romania. So that,
Yeah,
I mean, he brought this up apropos of this.
these people, they hate having their arrogance pointed out to
Right.
them because
Right.
we have all of the control of all the media outlets are going loud with everything I have to say, and then when someone points out, but that's what you said.
Right. No, I didn't. That's fake news. It's like, as with Annalena Baerbock, we are at war with Russia. Then he gets quoted. Hey, so is that so? Are we at war with Russia? I didn't. I never said that. No, you said it. No, no, no. That's fake news. I never said it. It's there. The video is there. You said we're at war with Russia. You said it in English. It's not like it was lost in translation. It says the DSA refers to the digital blah blah, and then in Thursday interview, Breton said Europe should, quote, keep our cool and enforce our laws in Europe when they risk being circumvented, and when they can, if not enforce, lead to interference. We did it in Romania, and we will obviously have to do it if necessary in Germany.
Yeah, well,
So what's misquoted here? I
I
mean,
mean, I'm not sure which side of the brain is speaking here now. I mean, you say, the EU has no mechanism to nullify any election anywhere
good.
in the EU, and that's it. We did it in Romania, and we obviously have to do it.
In Germany. Yeah.
I must have some
Right.
problems absorbing.
Exactly. I mean, it's and and so here, and several leaders in Europe aren't happy about that. The French president, the German chancellor, and the British and Spanish prime ministers have all denounced the American billionaire's outbursts. I like this. This is outbursts on X. Without naming him, French President Emmanuel Macron accused Musk of supporting, quote, a new reactionary international. That's
Yeah,
actually
well,
that's pretty good. A
I
reactionary
actually
international.
I like that, and I think that Twitter users all across the European space probably like that too.
I think they would. Hey, can I join this reactionary international?
Well, because okay, look, the French president, the German chancellor, and the British and Spanish prime minister. So they're all on one side. All I
Right.
know is I'm not on their side.
On that side, no, 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 no.
I'm not I'm not there. I'm not with them.
That's
Am I
right.
with am I with Musk? I don't know. I like let him talk. Let him talk.
Exactly. I mean, that's the point. He addresses issues that do need to be addressed. The point about the grooming gangs, oh, he got things wrong. He doesn't really know about it because we Brits we know about the story, and he got things wrong. Yeah, he probably did get things wrong. He hasn't followed this at all. This is quite a new subject for him, but he has brought this to public attention, and
Yeah,
now everyone in Britain is talking about it.
and well, everybody in Britain knows there was a grave misjustice played out in that case as well. Okay,
Right.
you don't have to know the minutia of the case.
Right.
Okay, and we
Right.
know who was at the head of the investigation. Okay.
Exactly. Exactly. Um, and then Macron says, quoting again, 10 years ago, if someone had told us that the owner of one of the biggest social networks in the world would support a new reactionary international and intervene directly in elections, including in Germany, who would have imagined it? He's not intervening. He's giving him an interview. I mean, that's, he's giving an interview. That's kind of what media outlets are supposed to do. Hey, I gave you an interview. What do you
And,
have to
and
say for yourself?
and intervene directly into elections. What do you think Brussels does all across Europe?
That's right. Yeah,
When
yeah.
Samantha Power shows up with her checkbook, what
With
does
a
she do?
checkbook, exactly. Yeah. What the hell is that? She shows up in Budapest, which is a member of the EU, with a checkbook. And $20 million. She had a checkbook, $20 million to distribute to all sorts of organizations in Budapest. What was the purpose of this? Well, she wants Orban gone. That's the point. She wants to fund all kinds of civil society groups who will work to overthrow Orban. And then, of course, we don't even have to talk about Moldova and Georgia, the absolute direct interference there. But also, again, what do you think newspapers do? I mean, newspaper publishers, and newspapers have been around for a long time. I mean, why do billionaires, well, in those days, they were just millionaires, why do they acquire newspapers? Not because they're going to make money on it, but because they want to exert influence. So rich
Yeah,
people have been using newspapers to exert influence for many, many years.
ask Jeff Bezos why he bought the Washington
All right,
Post.
exactly.
And it's in the red
It's
year
in the
after
red. All newspapers have always been in the red. Except Rupert Murdoch's kind of tits and bums kind of rags, but all other newspapers were always in the red. It's a very expensive undertaking, and that's and why do they do it? It's a good investment because they want to exert their influence on politics.
it's the cost of doing business.
It's exactly. Um, And then, the Spanish prime minister echoed the expression. The reactionary international, as President Macron said, led by the richest man on the planet, is openly attacking our institutions, inciting hatred, and openly calling for the support for heirs of Nazism in Germany in the next election.
Well,
Whoa, that's
talk about incendiary language. Okay.
exactly. Exactly. Inciting hatreds, openly attacking our institutions. Why aren't we supposed to attack institutions? I mean,
Well, I mean, also openly attacking I mean, who's our? It sounds like it's
exactly.
yours. Sounds like it's your institution.
It's your own personal property, yeah. But why? I mean, like, what sort of like police, the judicial authorities? Why can't we attack those? I mean, if they're not doing a good job, then we attack them. I mean, that's kind of what's supposed to happen in the democracy. They're not sort of sacrosanct, that you can't possibly attack them.
And one of the things George and I, over the years, we've been very careful in using the N word. And it's not the obvious N
Right,
word, it's the Nazi word. Okay.
right.
really it horrifies me
Right.
how it's so easily bandied
Yeah,
about.
that's right. Exactly. The heirs of Nazism. Um, and then in recent weeks, Musk has made a series of controversial statements. The billionaire and close friend of Donald Trump called German Chancellor Olaf Scholz an incompetent fool.
Yeah, I think the German electorate agrees. Keep going.
But, but it's always
What's controversial about that?
what's controversial about it. And again, even if he was a brilliant man, a man of, dynamic and acute intelligence, why can't you call him an incompetent fool? I mean, why is that so absolutely reprehensible thing to do? And then says the Tesla boss also attacked Prime Minister Keir Starmer for negligence when he was a prosecutor in the 1990s in connection with the sexual exploitation of more than 1,500 underage girls by men of Pakistani origin, repeatedly calling for him to step down.
Well,
Um,
isn't it interesting that this publication can actually say that?
right,
Because during the 1990s, you couldn't write
right,
by men of Pakistani origin.
right,
Okay, that's the problem here.
right,
That's the problem here, not
right,
being able to say what is true.
right,
Okay. And I think that people should be punished for that,
right,
particularly if they're in high political office.
right,
Okay.
right.
But you couldn't say that.
That's right.
That's the point of the story.
That's the point of the story. And then Starmer is now handling it so disastrous because he's refusing to hold a public inquiry. Well, a lot of people are very worked up about it now. And when he is a prime minister, somebody who's an interested party, because he was a prosecutor, says, "Oh, we're not going to have a public inquiry. What's the point of having these inquiries? We've had so many of them in the past." No, you haven't had them. That's the problem. These inquiries have been wholly inadequate. There should be a public inquiry about, all of them, all of these grooming gangs, rape gangs, throughout the country. Inquiry about that, and he says no. Well, that doesn't not going down very well in Britain. And then he said he also accused Jess Phillips, the UK's Minister of Safeguarding, an evil witch and a rape genocide apologist.
What is the
Um,
Minister of Safeguarding?
I don't know. I haven't heard of that position. Minister of Safe. I don't know who's being safeguarded. But I mean, I guess
Okay.
that's his
Well, all
point.
right. All right. All right. Okay. Jess Phillips, if you're out there, safeguarding. You've been called an evil witch and a rape genocide apologist. Please respond.
That's right. Exactly.
Please respond. This is a public forum.
That's right. And that's
This
what
is where
happens when.
we talk about ideas.
That's right. But
You're
it's
in
right.
public, you're in public office. You're not immune from criticism.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's what she has done, and what her apologists have done. Oh my God. My life is in danger. I'm getting threats. Oh, and then of course the media repeat this. Oh, Musk has put her life in jeopardy. She's now in danger from physical threats. Well, sorry, but that's if you're going to be in public life, then there are going to be threats made against you. I mean, that goes with the territory. Anyone in public life is going to be threatened. If you don't want to be threatened, you don't want people to say nasty and mean things about you, then you should stay out of public life. But the idea of doing this whiny thing and the media repeat this, oh, she's under threat, she's hiding for, in fear of her life because of this horrible evil man Musk and what he said about her. Well, don't do this. You want to be the equal of men in politics. Men just accept it. Yeah, like people are going to say very mean things about you, and people are going to threaten you. That's what people do. They threaten. People hiding behind keyboards are always, the tough guys. They're always threatening somebody's life.
You can't, I challenge any viewer to call me the most vile thing,
Right,
threaten me, and I will respond by saying, "You're not the first to say it. You're
right.
not the
That's
first
right.
to do it."
That's
Okay,
right. Yeah,
that's what it comes with the territory.
right,
Okay,
right. Exactly. And then that came after the GB News reported that at the start of the year that Phillips had voted against another government-led national inquiry into child sex abuse, arguing that local inquiries are generally more effective at pushing through change. Well, that's the point. That people are, we've had these local inquiries. They haven't been very adequate. There haven't been sufficient changes. And there should be a national public inquiry about what happened. Why was there this neglect? Why was this kept silent? Why was this downplayed and minimized? All that has to be discussed. But she votes against it. Well, yeah, I mean, you're going to get attacked. Anyway, it says Berlin has condemned the billionaire's erratic statements, and Westminster denounced those who spread lies and misinformation.
What lies and what misinformation?
Exactly. And Musk's perceived interference in the German election campaign has also caused ripples.
Whose perception of
Exactly.
I mean, so can you take either you own all of the institutions and you tell us what they're for. It's
Right.
to protect you and your friends. And then this is again this real passive voice. There's the perception. Well,
That's
whose
right.
perception?
Exactly. Exactly. They always say critics point something out. Well, which critics? I mean, yeah, I mean, political opponents are going to point something out. But what you're just always picking on on those. Oh, the experts argue this. Who are the experts? I mean, the experts that you call, the two or three that you call. What about other experts? But they always use it in this way of suggesting, well, this is where the consensus is. This is where the expert opinion is. You better shut up and get with the
Yeah, well,
expert
all I
view.
can tell you after about 40 years of this consensus nonsense, I'm willing to listen to
Right.
almost anybody else but these people.
That's
So
right. And anyway, so then he talks, and this is the live stream. Musk or German to vote for the AfD. That interview prompted more than 60 German and Austrian academic organizations to announce their departure from X, and the German government to complain that Musk and X were warping political discourse.
they got their feelings.
I always like the Guardian has already left X. We are going. That's
Well, I was
we're leaving.
wondering why the air smelled better. Oh,
but, but but I always like warping political discourse. But it's okay if mainstream German media outlets ignore the AfD. They don't interview her.
yeah,
Um,
well, and, after 10 years of Russiagate,
right.
I mean, well, who's warping political
That's right.
discourse?
Exactly. And that was serious, and that was really consequential. And then French Foreign Minister Jean-Noël Barrot,
The new guy,
this is the new guy.
the
It's
new
hard to
guy.
keep track of them. Went one step further in his criticism, calling on the European Commission to intervene with the utmost firmness into Musk X and its reach.
What, what,
Utmost
what,
firmness.
what is this firmness?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It sounds like, hey, we got to, outlaw. I mean, it's where it's heading is, we need to just outlaw it. I mean, that's what you do. I mean, if you don't, you can't control speech the way Hillary Clinton said, and you can't control it, we lose total control, then you just outlaw it. I mean, what else can you do?
Got to be firm. Got to be firm.
Exactly. And then here is, and then it says France's foreign affairs chief has not ruled out a ban on X in Europe. Well, thank you. Similar to what happened in Brazil. This is provided for in our laws, he said. Oh, good.
Okay.
um, and then here, and then we have this German MEP, Daniel Boselager, who says, if there is a violation of the Digital Services Act, I would like to see a rapid reaction. So if very simply Elon Musk increases his own reach and uses that increase to recommend a party, the AfD in Germany, in the German election, if that is illegal under the DSA, then that would require swift action.
Well, what they want, George, is they want to get rid of Twitter.
Yes, that's
That's
right. That's right.
they have,
That's
they
right.
they have no arguments.
That's right. That's right. As the Commission points out, the freedom of expression is at the heart of European regulation. You always say this completely the opposite of what the truth is. It's at the heart of it. It's like, Thierry Breton will also say, I love free speech. Free speech is at the heart of our democracy. Free speech is what our values are about. But,
Why do DSA?
freedom does not mean no
No, but
regulation.
the DSA is how to curb speech. It doesn't encourage speech.
That's right.
This is what the DSA does is the exact opposite. It
That's
is
right.
to censor. And
That's
it's
right.
not to protect speech, it's to
Right.
censor speech.
Exactly. That's it. That's the point. But this is censorship in the name of freedom. The EU has become master of
Right.
this kind of discourse where something you're saying the opposite of what reality is. Oh, this is Musk is a threat to freedom. How is he a threat? Because he's allowing hate speech to flourish. That's a threat to freedom. Then, well, that's part of free speech. Free speech is not just speech you agree with. It's going to be speech that you don't agree with. That's what free speech is. Oh, well, we can't allow anyone to say anything. That's not free speech. And here through algorithms, this is same guy said algorithms. Anyone who says algorithm, you need to ask them. Can you explain to me what an algorithm is? What they have no idea what an algorithm is. So through algorithms, it is possible to favor a certain type of narrative. You can favor a certain type of content, or you can try to prohibit another type of content. And then Thomas Regnier, spokesman for the European Commission, explained. He doesn't explain anything. We have clearly indicated that such a live stream is not in principle prohibited by the DSA. Now, to what extent is it, or could it be amplified? That's what the Commission will be looking into.
Oh, the commission. Yes, the cardinals will come together. The
That's
cura
right.
will come together
That's
and
right.
they will pronounce what the Holy Office has to say. I mean, these people are just so retrograde.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Look, as I've said many times, George and I go through all of these publications. I am offended to my very core what these people write.
Yeah.
Should they be denied to write it? No,
Right.
that's what they do.
That's right.
Okay, and this is
That's right.
what we do.
That's right.
Okay, and
That's right.
and this is the problem. Liberalism is so intolerant.
Yep. That's right.
Grow a pair.
That's right. It is remarkable that they are extraordinarily intolerant, but they're always pretending to be tolerant. They're always saying, these are our values like tolerance and diversity, where it's exact opposite. You don't have any tolerance and you hate any kind of diversity. You hate anyone coming along who's challenging the status quo. And the problem with Musk was precisely, he used to be in good standing, and then suddenly he started saying things that offended, the established powers, and then this is causing the outrage. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed, if you were George Soros or Bill Gates and you were still spreading your billions far and wide, setting up these organizations, which the EU approves of, no one would ever bring up the subject about interference. Oh, no, interfere away, go right ahead.
Yeah, I mean, you've already kind of touched upon it, and what I like about Elon's style is that he's in front of
Yeah,
everything. It's not stealth.
you're right.
Okay,
Exactly.
let's this Council of European Studies and Intolerance and Openness and Diversity that's in Bratislava. It will take us a couple of days to figure out who funds it because it
Right.
gets a grant from this guy and a grant and a grant and a
It's
grant.
very,
And
very
Elon
difficult.
Musk is just saying, well, I think the future of Germany is the see,
Yeah.
it's right there.
Yeah.
Again, they don't like that style. Okay,
Right.
everything is more stealth. It's
That's
like
right.
everything has been agreed to. There's
That's right.
already a consensus. Who are you,
That's right.
citizens, to question all of these
Exactly.
important people, these PMCs that have
Right.
thought very long and hard about
Yeah.
these, okay? If they
Yeah.
want to do.
That's right. Exactly. I mean, it's like someone like Bill Gates. Bill Gates funds many, many newspapers, but it's very, very difficult to figure, to find out which newspapers he funds, how he does it, the different projects at newspapers and media outlets that he funds. And then you can see his pervasive influence through so much of public life in Europe, not just in the United States, in Europe. And in the case of Soros, it's just banned from actually bringing him up, even bringing up the name Soros. Oh, that's a conspiracy theory. And of course, you're anti Semitic. Somebody who really couldn't care less about his Jewishness, but the idea that somehow if you bring up the issue of Soros, then that's anti-Semitic. But he and he has been, wheedling his way into so many different countries and so many different organizations that it's very hard to track it all. There are so many of these institutes, so many of these think tanks and NGOs and agencies. Many of them don't even publish who their donors are. So it's a real huge effort. People like Max Blumenthal do it. They go through all
Yeah.
the documents and so on, and they dig the stuff out. But if you're in a hurry, then you say, I don't know who funds this. But chances are Soros is somewhere in the mix.
The fact that these people are so irate about what Elon is doing tells me it's a good thing. Okay.
Okay.
I mean, for the sake of Europe, for the sake of its future, you shake yourself up a little bit. You're on a downward spiral.
Right.
I mean, even, the establishment publications like The Economist. I mean, last week they're saying the German economy is in a downward spiral and
Yeah.
it may not be recoverable. I mean, this is
Right.
your own people.
Right.
I mean, isn't it time to have a serious, hard, sober
Right.
talk? Don't you maybe a
Right.
bucket of cold water over your head every
Right.
once in a while?
Right.
And then just refute
Right.
calmly,
Right.
without rhetoric, refute
Right.
everything that Elon says.
Right.
You've got the floor.
Yeah.
You got an account at Twitter.
Yeah.
Do your best.
That's right. That's exactly right. And of course, the point is that, in the case of the AFD, basically he says, hey, this is a party that has essentially been banned from civilized company. We're just going to ignore them. We're going to have nothing to do with them. No one's going to share power with them. No one's going to talk to them. We just ignore them. Just ignore their very existence. Well, he's pointed out that's not a successful model. Again, he gave her the floor, which means that she could say something outrageous. If she had said anything outrageous, you can be sure that all the media would be screaming, "Look what she said! Look what she said!" She
Absolutely.
said
No,
something.
the story is the interview.
Right, right,
That's the story, not what she had to say.
right,
This
right,
is so very typical. And this is Elon Musk is absolutely right. So when we have the election coming up, what the FDevs right now,
26th of
20,
February. Yeah. Mhm. She's
18,
about
20.
it's about 21, 22% in the poll,
Okay,
something like
a
that.
little higher. Okay.
Yeah,
So you're going to nullify their participation in the
right,
democratic process? Is that a successful model?
right. Exactly.
Maybe you should go where the people are. See,
That's
that's
right.
what real retail politics is. You go
That's
you
right.
go where your voter is.
That's
These
right.
people will not deign to take off their
No,
white gloves and get
right,
their skirts dirty.
right,
No, 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 no. These grubby people, okay? It's just
right,
like what Chuck Schumer said, what was it in 2018, for every blue collar worker we lose, we get, 3 or 4 PMCs, okay?
right.
That's how these people think.
Right. Right. Yeah, no, yeah, that's right. And of course, again, the outrageousness when we talk about free speech, when, back in 2020, 2021, when the sitting president of the United States was removed from Twitter, and innumerable accounts were removed from Twitter, and Zuckerberg is kind of has the honesty to be, well,
Fill in the
we
beans.
did, yeah, well, all right, but at least it says that was not a good time for us, what we did then. And, these people didn't care. And the argument then was, hey, well, this is a private corporation. They can do what they like. No First Amendment issues here. No, no, no. This is a private company. Private individuals, okay, that's it's within their rights. Where's the talk about, hey, this is a private individual? He's entitled to his views. I mean, he's entitled to remove anyone from Twitter, which he doesn't do. He hasn't done that. I mean, even if he amplifies his tweets, and they don't know whether he does or don't, because none of these people knows how Twitter works. I mean, we know this even from the Twitter files, that the people who worked at Twitter were kind of laughing about the things that the people were saying because they didn't know how Twitter works. So, he hasn't done that. So, it's still free speech. No one gets kicked off because they criticize Musk.
I don't know. I mean, I'm obviously not a techie, but the way I look at it is that because the way I look at the feed that I get, and I'm not much into Twitter, I can see why people like what these outrageous videos of fights and beautiful women, all that, that's people like that. Okay,
Right.
I don't see how you have to amplify it. I
No,
mean,
no,
it just not it's kind of organic. I mean, do I like it? Not really. Okay.
right.
But it seems to me much more organic than the suppression of individuals. Now that's real.
That's right.
That's
Exactly.
real.
Now, you have to also say Musk has a sense of humor. I mean, you have to say that
Yes.
his tweets are quite funny because there was a tweet sent out by Bernie Sanders in which he said, billionaires should not own social media. And then Musk sent it out with an inscription, should too, should too. Billionaires shouldn't
Yeah,
own
but I mean,
social media.
this was part of what the whole social media experiment was about, okay? Where you can be, if you have an internet connection, you can
Yes,
somehow participate in Elon Musk's humor. And
that's right.
that's
Right.
amazing, you know?
Right, right. Yeah, no, that's right, and that's the greatness of the internet. I mean, we had newspapers, and then you have television, but the internet really revolutionized communication. I mean, just complete transformation of what they used to be. Newspapers and television, they weren't that different, but the internet really changed everything because it really democratized news gathering, exchange of ideas, and everything, and naturally powerful people are not happy unless they're in control of this. And that's hence the threat against Musk. I mean, they did that with Brazil. I mean, he was banned. This judge, completely unelected judge, just simply banned Twitter from Brazil. And I think something like that could easily happen in the EU.
Yeah, but I think that it shows, and it will show to tens of millions of Europeans the weakness of the whole European model. I mean
Right.
that if Twitter is banned in Europe, then it means that the elite is
Yeah.
ceding a defeat.
Right.
Okay, it's an L for them.
Right.
You don't have any brass balls, you know.
Right.
I mean, if again go back to one of our favorites, if Charles de Gaulle was alive, what he'd be like? He'd be like Elon Musk. People would say, "What's Charles de Gaulle have to say?" It
Right.
would be across the continent, okay?
Right.
Because the guy's got, he's got gravitas, okay?
Yeah.
And in the case of Elon Musk, I mean, he is the richest man in the world. It didn't
Right.
happen by accident. He had a lot of help, okay?
Right. Right. Right.
Okay. But that's how the world works. Okay. And if someone insulted Charles de Gaulle, he'd come back with a really good insult
Right.
himself. Okay?
No, I think so. I think Musk um, has got very, very preoccupied with politics. I think this is
I don't know if
something.
it's going to work out well for
No,
him.
I don't know either. I mean, but it does happen with people who are kind of non-political most of their lives. I mean, he was non-political. I mean, one never knew anything about his politics.
I
All this.
thought he was to the left always.
Yeah, but I didn't think it was ever political because you knew about PayPal, you knew something about SpaceX and so on, and then he suddenly emerged and said, "Oh, well, I'm a free speech absolutist," and the people got kind of interesting. Oh, what do you mean by that? And then he purchased Twitter, and that was when suddenly, well, he's now he's very preoccupied with politics. I mean, you kind of wonder, does he actually do any work on his? I mean, these are
Well, I don't know.
huge
I mean, it's
companies that he
interesting.
he owns.
If you'll help me with the memory machine. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. Things move so quickly. But he was on like the BBC, and they kind of attacked him on something, and he just had a broad, attack return. I mean, it was like,
Yes,
whoa, okay.
that
I
was
mean,
that was that
we don't
exactly.
do this in television. We don't do this on the BBC.
That's
He
what
didn't care about this. I'm not going to play by your rules,
that's
okay?
right.
He
That
just
I
threw it
think,
right
yeah,
back.
that was, I think, soon after he took over Twitter,
Yeah,
and this BBC reporter said, "Oh, there's been a spike in
there you
racist,
go.
anti-Semitic comments on Twitter." And he said, "Well, can you cite any examples?" Well, I don't have to. Well, you just said that. You just said that's on Twitter. Well, I don't have to. I just know it's true. So, well, you're throwing this around, and you don't have any evidence for these accusations. So he turned it around against the BBC because this is what they like to do to the people they're interviewing. Oh, well, do you have any evidence for these claims? They said, yeah. Well, do you have any evidence for this claim that suddenly there's a spike in racist and anti-Semitic comments? So yeah, but now, I mean, it's like, he's going from one thing to another. He seems, really involved in everything. I mean, like the grooming gangs. Now he's on to LA. I mean, and that's now his new preoccupation. So he's become very political, and you do have to wonder. He's going to be a member of the administration, and then if things get a little awkward, you kind of wonder which. But on the other hand, he will be, Trump's Trump. He's going to be the one saying the outrageous things, and Trump will be the wise man. Well,
There's something to this. There's definitely he's a foil. Definitely.
exactly.
But how you balance it with Trump is going to be kind of
I,
problematic.
I think it's
But
going to.
look, in toto, whatever his fetish is of the moment, that's okay.
Right,
I'm not upset. I'm not nervous.
right,
I don't. Is he crowding people out? No, he's making people react.
right,
That's good.
right,
That's really good.
right.
And if you've got a problem with Elon Musk, get an account.
Yeah,
Write about it. Go ahead.
right.
So, I mean, I think, the whole phenomenon, I don't know if it has longevity to it, because when you're going into politics, it's going to be, there is a pecking order, everyone. Remember, and I send this, address this to feminists and postmodernists. I know you all hate hierarchies. I know that, the patriarchy and all that. But the very existence on life on this planet has always been and always will be dictated by hierarchies,
Right.
always. And the problem with hierarchies is that they can become corrupted, and then that's when it should be overthrown. But if it's overthrown and when it's overthrown, a new hierarchy is going to take
Right,
its
right.
place.
But that's the
It
thing. I mean,
always
yes,
happens.
but he's yes, he's a billionaire, and billionaires, they have certain power. But once you're in the administration, the administration, that's a top down. And as a billionaire, you are not at the top of the hierarchy. You are now heading a government agency, and so you have to, follow the
But
rules.
is it literally a new agency, or is it just
Yes,
this?
I think it's a
Oh,
new agency. I mean, I don't know how it's going to function. I don't think that hasn't really been worked out yet. What is this Department of Government
will this
Efficiency? I mean,
agency examine their own funding?
well, it's a good question. I mean, I think that they're going to first of all have to establish it. So there'll be congressional legislation to establish this agency. And then they'll have to allocate a budget. So they're going to have to at least come up with a plan as to what are they actually going to do with this money. So all that has to be done. But at the moment, it's just going to be a new agency. Like they created the Department of Energy. That was Jimmy Carter. He created and the Department of Education. These things were just created um, again by Jimmy Carter, and then they have to allocate funds. So, and of course, what happens when you create a government agency is that it stays on in perpetuity. No one can ever get rid of it.
It's like a bad cold. You can't get rid of it.
Yeah, yeah. Every Republican has always promised to get rid of the Department of Education. Not one of them has ever done it. Reagan, Bush, everyone. Oh, we're going to get rid of the Department of Education. Nope, it's never been done. I think Trump is also promising to get rid of the Department of Education.
But maybe Elon and Vivek can get him to defund it. Maybe that's how.
Right, but the pecking order is that because once you're in the administration, well, there's a pecking order. There's the president, the Treasury Secretary, the Secretary of State. They're all higher up in the hierarchy. This is just a new agency. You're some way down on the totem pole in here. So you'd have to wonder, how
But
somebody like Musk is going to accept his relatively low standing.
the Blair House is across the street from the White House, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Because that's where Harry Truman lived when they did the remodeling
Right.
during his presidency. I wonder if the Blair House is up for sale.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm pretty sure there's an underground tunnel.
Yes. Yeah, I'm sure that's right. Yes. 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 Yeah.
Is Elon
Yeah.
going to get the pass? Is going to get the keys?
Yeah. So
I think after January 20th, it's going to be different. I just do.
right. Yeah.
I mean, he's
I
not going to bring a sleeping bag. Okay. I mean,
right.
because the West Wing is really small. Okay. It's claustrophobic. It's a pretty
Right.
small.
It's small. Yeah. No, I don't think. And I think if he's going to be staying there, I think he's going to get on Trump's nerves. I mean, he's at Mar-a-Lago. Mar-a-Lago is huge. So yeah, he's renting something at Mar-a-Lago at $2,000 a night. But at least it's huge. He's not in Trump's way. But I mean, he's going to be in the West Wing, and you know, every time Trump goes to the bathroom, Musk is
I was
there.
just going to say, Elon comes and says, "Can I use the John?"
Exactly. Hey, your bathroom's a lot better than mine. Can I come and use this one? So yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
Mr. President, I'm going up to your private quarters. I noticed there's a very nice kitchenette up there, and the refrigerator is full. Do you mind if I make a ham sandwich? I can bring one down.
Exactly.
Coke,
It's a
Diet
much
Coke,
better. Yeah,
Diet Coke, Diet Coke.
that's right. It's a much better refrigerator than mine. It's much
Well,
bigger.
because Melania, I don't think she's going to be living in the. I think she's going to stay in New York, like she
I,
did.
I don't know. I thought Trump said that she is going to be staying. She didn't during the first term, but I thought he said that she is going to stay. But I don't know whether she particularly likes what's like it. I mean, Washington is not for everyone. It's kind of boring. I mean, if you're not that interested in politics, I don't think she is that interested in politics. Then Washington is kind of boring.
Yeah, I mean, you can't move. She can't move around very much.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would tend to think that she's going to take Barron and take him back up to New York. Okay, but that's her ecosystem.
Right.
Okay,
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Then because then she's around people that she likes. The people that she knows and she's familiar with.
yeah, because Washington's full of vipers. I mean, everybody
Yeah.
hates everybody in Washington.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah. That's right. Exactly. Very ambitious people. Real backstabbers. But they're all there. Working 16, 17 hours a day. So real ambitious nerds. They're the worst. They're cutthroat nerds.
Well, and then Elon's going to be in at home like a pig in shit.
Right.
Okay, no, that's for a future podcast. But I hope that it'll be amicable, because we saw what happened with Steve Bannon in the first administration and Dr. Sebastian Gorka and what was that big mouth finance guy? Um, he was like head of communications for 2 minutes.
Oh, God, what was his name? Yeah, I can
That's
see his face now, but
yeah, he's a
yeah.
real snot, that guy. Okay.
Yeah, he was a total idiot. And then ever since, he survived, was I think 2 weeks, or maybe not even as long as 2 weeks.
I think
Um,
it's hours.
Within hours, I think he was gone. I mean, you don't really want to get on the phone and start threatening a journalist. I mean, actually, literally, physically, he was threatening a journalist. It just doesn't work well, particularly as what's a journalist going to do? He's going to report it that this guy talked to me and physically threatened me. So yeah, he was gone. But ever since then, this guy, he's been on CNN, MSNBC denouncing Trump. I mean, you made a total hash of this job and you're denouncing Trump. He gave you this position and then you made a complete mess of it.
Well, it's really interesting. Let's think about that as we wrap up here. I haven't thought this out, but I mean, people that rat out Trump, how have they done? Have they done really well? Okay, well? I
Like
mean,
some of them have got some
I
of them
just
have,
don't, if it was, one or two people, then maybe. But I mean, this is just like it's like a metamorphosis. Get close to the guy, sting him, and then
right,
I'm going to go on MSNBC. But nobody watches MSNBC anymore.
right.
Almost no one watches CNN. I mean, I just don't see the payoff. I mean, turning on Trump, it's not
No,
unique
I
anymore.
think that's the most you can hope for, which is like Adam Kinzinger, he's on CNN. Then Eliza Farah, Lisa Farah is her surname. She's nice to look at, so he gets a job on television. But that's about it. I mean, you're done as far as a political career, but you probably get paid pretty well at CNN, so at least I've got a salary. And then, John Bolton, I think, I don't know, he doesn't even have that. I mean, he's just an occasional talking head whose job is to denounce Trump, always to attack Trump, and that's all. As yeah, I mean, I agree. There hasn't been any lucrative career open to them.
Yeah. it just this whole establishment matrix. At the end of the day, it just kind of short circuits itself. Okay,
Right.
I mean, you know, January 20, it's 8 days. Well, everyone shouldn't be news to anybody. George and I are going to be criticizing the Trump administration.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
um, you know, equal opportunity criticism
Right.
here.
No,
Okay?
no question. No question. Um, but I mean, I think the things that were done to Trump was so outrageous
Yep.
that we always had to defend Trump from
Yep.
all of those things. But now Trump will be in charge, and so therefore, we're not going to talk about, oh yeah, but what did Biden do and what did they do to Trump? I mean, that's already going to be old news. We're going to be analyzing what Trump is now doing in office. So,
Yep. Buckle up and
yeah, right.
prepare for impact because it's very, very. So will we do being we'll be doing a live stream as he's being inaugurated?
Well, that's going to be hard because I think it's at noon, so it'll be 6 p.m. my time, which means 8 p.m. your time. So it's kind of late for
Well,
you.
nobody will be watching us. They'll be watching the inauguration. So, okay. Maybe we'll do an extraordinary one on Tuesday. Okay.
Uh,
All right, everybody.
okay.
This is Gaggle with Peter and George. We're on Locals, so please go to thegaggle.locals.com. This is our Sunday wrap tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern time. We'll
10
have,
a.m. 10 a.m. Eastern time.
oh, sorry. It's 6 my time, 10
Yeah,
a.m.
that's right.
Eastern time,
Yeah,
live stream.
that's right. Exactly. Please join us. Come with comments, criticisms, suggestions, opinions. We love questions. So the harder and more challenging the questions, the better. And of course, the tip jar situation gets ever graver. We have to sort of
And
see.
there's inflation in the world.
And there's inflation in the world, and so the dogs are really very, very concerned, and are concerned because we're not concerned enough. So if you have some coins lying around in your pocket, under the mattress, under the sofa, get them all out, pick them up into the tip jar. We're very grateful for all of your help, friendship, and support. The more you're able to support us, the more of these videos we can make, the more we can improve on the technology. And above all, we can put the dogs into a better frame of mind for the new year. It's getting very hard. So remember, if you like the gaggle, please like, share, and subscribe. See you soon. Bye bye.